I think sometimes you do have to lead with trust and vulnerability and say, how is this going to go and where is this going to take us? And I think that's how you build an honest relationship from the get-go and kind of see what happens together.
Hey, I'm Corrina.
And I'm Taylor.
And this is Direct, a podcast we created to showcase the creativity and hard work of go-to-market teams everywhere.
We're here to share the stories and experiences of the hardworking, passionate individuals who make up go-to-market teams, the ones who truly make the magic happen.
Taylor and I have been fortunate enough to work side by side on some incredible projects together, and now we want to put a spotlight on the unsung heroes behind some of the best go-to-market campaigns out there.
In each episode, you'll hear from individual contributors who have gone above and beyond to make a difference. They'll share their challenges, victories, and the lessons they've learned along the way, all to help you unlock the next step in your career. Get ready to be inspired, learn something new, maybe even share a laugh or two.
Welcome to Direct. Welcome back to another episode of Direct with Corrina and Taylor. I'm Corrina.
And I'm Taylor.
And today we're joined by Kalen Olson. Kalen recently joined the Grove Cookie Company team, which many of you know, as many of you have received so many delicious cookies over the past couple of years. As their director of partnership, she touches partnership across marketing and sales, and she has experience with teaching coaching, and she even has experience in the food industry as well. When she's not talking cookies, she spends her time with her family, including her wonderful boyfriend, Joe, her dog, Bear, and her cat, Rosa. Kalen, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Corrina and Taylor. I'm excited to be here with you both.
We're thrilled to have you on too, and I know we have so much goodness to dive into, but first things first, we ask all of our guests one question at the top of the show, and that is, if you had a magic wand and you could change any aspect of whether it be your personal life, your work life, you pick, what would that be? What would you use the magic wand for?
Oh, I love this question. For me, it'd be for my professional and personal life. It would be to change getting to be with people more. Sometimes I just feel like we get so spread out in life, life happens, and there's people I would, go back to from college where I still think of memories where we're laughing together, we're having this good time, and I want to see these people and hug them and see them face to face. And that goes the same too with professional life. There's so many cool people I've met through LinkedIn, and likewise, even with Grove, we're a flexible work from home first heavy company in regards to the partnerships element. And there's sometimes where I just want to see people in person. And so that would be my magic wand, is to be able to get together more in person with people.
I second that. Awesome. Well, we'll get back to that at the bottom of the show. But before we do that, we're going to just dive right into all things Grove Cookie Company and your role there.
Cool. Absolutely. We're so excited to have you here. It is very much kind of a full circle moment for us. We're excited to talk to you, but Grove Cookie Company, Grayson was actually our second guest ever on the podcast around a year ago today as we're recording this. So you guys have seen so much success since in that past year as well. How did you meet Grayson? How did you get to know the Grove Cookie Company and come to work there?
Oh my gosh, this is a funny story. Do you know this story, Corrina? Did I tell you this yet?
Yes, okay. Yes, you did. Yes, I'm excited for you to share with our listeners. Yeah.
No, it's, oh gosh, where do I begin? So I would say roughly about maybe a little over a year ago, or around a year ago, I was starting to be way more active on LinkedIn and just picking up more steam. And I would say a little bit before I applied to Grove, I just started seeing Grayson really heavily on LinkedIn, as everyone has who's on LinkedIn. Just this really positive force. And I was really drawn to how he was growing Grove on LinkedIn. And so out of curiosity, I went to the website and said, we're hiring. So fill out a form. So I filled out the form, and to my pleasant surprise, he reached out and he said, hey, I'm just curious to see what you're thinking right now, as far as maybe a potential job. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get to work here. So there wasn't necessarily a job title I found on LinkedIn or Indeed or what have you. And so it was a unique opportunity I wanted to make the most out of. And I went to, at the time, a professional coaching group, and I said, hey, I have this really cool opportunity. And I had some ideas on the back burner, just kind of looking at the size of his company and where he was based off of my like background and skill set. And I had some ideas, but you need to go to Katie Penner at Sendoso. I did not know at the time that they had been working so tightly together. And so I didn't know she would have such keen insight. And so I went to her and I said, hey, you don't know me, but would you mind connecting? As fabulous as LinkedIn, the LinkedIn community, as people are so willing to help, Katie was no exception. And I had just learned just a little bit of how helpful she is. I mean, just now working there, she's incredible. But she was willing to meet with me. And so her and I brainstormed together. She laid out a bunch of ideas, and a lot of them were in line kind of with what I was thinking, but she took it a little bit above and beyond that. And so after conversing with her, I stepped back and I noticed there was just a three-pronged approach that was developing out of that. And when I looked back even more, I was like, okay, this is looking like more of a partnerships type of opportunity. And so I shot a video to Grayson and Marie, and I sent it to them, outlining what I was kind of visualizing with Katie. And they were right on the same page and they loved it. And um, sent a message back. That was amazing. Let's connect further. And basically, the rest is history.
So, Keelan, you guys have had just a ton of success with different partnerships, particularly with vendors like Sendoso, who are the more, obvious ones, I would say, the channel partners, right? But you've also done a lot with different tech vendors like Consort recently. You just did the March Madness cookie bracket, which was so much fun. Can you speak to us a little bit about, why those campaigns have been so successful, why continue to do them, and the value that you see that they bring from a partnership perspective?
The first thing that comes to mind is, Marie and Grayson did a fabulous job of laying the groundwork with creators on LinkedIn, and they joined in the fun, and, they haven't stopped, which is like fun for us that they want to continue the party. And really, there's been a strong alignment. Like what we continue to look for is really our three pillars are joy, excellence, relationships. So that's what we base a lot on. And then, our tagline, if you will, is that we are all about relationship enhancement. And so, because of that groundwork that Grace and Marie laid, that allows for this momentum to continue. It allows us to say, okay, how can we build on that? And so, um, it was quite funny, when the March Madness came about. I wasn't even necessarily thinking of Comsor. I was just like, I want to highlight people who are doing really cool things and put it all together, and not just highlight one industry and say these are the people to watch for in 2024. They've got really cool advice, basically. And so that was kind of the idea. And I approached Ashley Cockhill and I said, what do you think about this? And she said, you know what? It'd be really fun to bring Corrina into this conversation. And so Ashley kind of, um, you know, connected with Corrina, and I connected with Corrina, and we had fun brainstorming. And then Corrina realizing, oh my gosh, there's just this huge collaboration opportunity. And so I look for what conversations feel electrifying, what conversations feel like there's momentum here. And then I also look for, is there true alignment? And so hearing Corrina share more, we are all about authentic connections. They came out with the House of Authentic Connections with their brand. And that really mirrors our relationship enhancement efforts. And so I'm looking at those kind of connections where we are in mutual alignment, and how can we do fun things and build off of our personal gifts as well. Corrina and the team have some really cool gifts they bring to the table. And then we just kind of sit back and kind of see what comes to the surface, and how we can all grow together.
It's really cool to see you talk that through because I think you're totally right. I completely like space on it for a second, but Comstar does a lot of really unique merch. And so there is this element of not just like how to approach selling and relationship building like as a business model, but also, yeah, there are some tangible things that you guys are doing that is just a nice crossover as well. And it really is kind of shaking up, I think, the traditional B2B direct mail, kind of model, if you will. I know you guys are killing it on platforms like Sendoso. I think it was maybe last year you guys were the number 2 vendor to partner with. Is that right?
Yeah, we were listed as number 2 with Sendoso.
That's huge. I mean, at that point, Grayson had been around for what, maybe like a year, maybe 2 years at that point. So, I mean, just selling cookies and like selling like just a couple of flavors of cookies too. So, I think that really speaks to, again, this relationship kind of model that you guys have done. Um, he really does operate that way as well. I know I've noticed that he doesn't just stick to kind of like the 3 big boxes. Like he's talking to, some like companies like Zest as an example. And like you said too, like Comsor, ways how you guys can show up and cross collaborate, cross promote. So talk to me a little bit more about that. What would you say that, what would be kind of the next venture for you guys as you guys are kind of exploring different business models? What is something that's really exciting you guys from that perspective about how you're going to market?
Sure. Yeah, what's really fun getting to work with Grayson is we're both on the same page about, like, if it isn't fun, we're not doing it. And so that's, in the mix when we're approaching all of these new ideas. And we truly want as many people as possible to play in the sandbox with us. That's another element where we're like, who just wants to go out and have fun? Who's all about people first? And so everything we do is, like, yeah, we work in the sales space where we help tech companies. That's kind of a big focus with these gifting platforms is helping the sales departments achieve their goals through relationship building. Like right now, folks are getting a lot of cold emails. And so how do you cut through that noise? Well, leading through relationship first. How do you lead through relationship first? Well, you can say, a really cute message on a cute card with some cookies, hopefully personalizing a little bit. And so we look to expand those kind of opportunities. And right now, that just so happens to be continuing in the gifting platform space. There are other folks who are in that same alignment of like, we're gratitude first, or we're relationship focused. So we listen in on what are their mission statements, and we listen in like, do they have? There's also like practical boxes to check, right? Like we have Shopify, we have certain boxes that are just the day to day operational things that we need checked. And then aside from that, we're also looking at other business ventures, but we want to keep expanding our gifting platform partnerships. Absolutely. Because, like I said, we want to play in the sandbox with as many people as possible.
I love that you're talking about not only as many people as possible, because obviously everyone loves cookies, but really going after partnerships with companies that have similar missions to you guys instead of just similar audiences to you guys. You mentioned authentic connections, enhancing relationships. Um, for anyone that's one of our listeners that's getting into kind of partnership selling, or how do you find that mission statement is true and authentic inside of those companies as opposed to maybe just something on their website?
Mhm. Wow, that's a great question. Um, wow. I've never really, to be quite honest with you, really teased that out. Right now we're basically looking at gifting platform partners that are like they feel a little bit more established. So we're also looking at the ROI. And I guess we're going off of trust. And I think sometimes you do have to lead with trust and vulnerability and say, how is this going to go and where is this going to take us? And I think that's how you build an honest relationship from the get go and kind of see what happens together. So we're also about just being honest and trustworthy, um, and seeing where those relationships go. And especially when you're breaking into new territory, sometimes you just don't know. And you really do have to try. And the process of going into the unknown is really about those slight little touches to help navigate as you go. Like, we went this way. Okay, maybe we're going to do a soft touch. We're going to go this way. But ultimately, the direction is the same. Um, hmm, you're just what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of slightly you're adjusting as you go. And that's just part of the territory of doing anything brand new.
So much what I think you shared and what we've seen with Grayson and you and the Grove Cookie Company is this idea of like experimentation. And almost like you just said with that example with Comsor, you had an idea and you brought it to them and thankfully they were on board and went ahead and executed. Like just curious, are there any ideas that were so wild and grandiose that you guys have all wanted to attempt to do, but maybe just haven't found the right partner yet, or just weren't able to do it for budget or any other reason at the time?
Oh, good question. We're very lucky in that, like, Grayson is like a dream big, but make sure and I'm the same way. Like we want to be mindful of um making sure everyone's staying like with their gifts. And so when we approach people, like Comsor is very generous with their what they're able to do, just because of they have a team that's able to operate in certain, lanes, if you will. And so we just look to see, okay, what what are we able to do based off of everyone's gifts, based off everyone's time. And we've just really been fortunate to be able to do these big fun things, and thinking about like how to go through the back door as well. Like and I'll come back to that. I do want to add on to the comment before, you were asking how do we find people where it's just not all talk. When I was starting to look for gifting platform partners, I've started to use G2 more. And so I look for companies that are similar but different. And that's kind of helped me to really vet companies. And that list has been pretty top notch. So kind of getting back to what you were saying is like, I think what's cool about partnerships is you have access to the back door. So for example, like standard sales, you're picking up the phone or you're doing the email, and you need that for a business to grow. It's really important. And what's cool about partnerships is we can say, well, maybe we want to go toward the real estate industry, or maybe we want to go toward the trade shows. People might want cookies when they're, at a booth. So there's these other potentials. And what partnerships allows you to do is to go through the back door to access these different companies. So dreaming too big is not really, it's not something we've ran into, because we can go through the back door. And so we can allow partnerships allows many hands light lifting. And that's what I love about it. It's a very collaborative effort. And so right now, for example, we are starting to look into the distributor space. It's brand new for us for partnerships. It's very exciting. And these are other companies who would be able to share the joy of cookies when it comes to trade shows, or they have a catalog where real estate folks are going on the catalog. We just had somebody approach us who says, I want to use you guys for my university efforts and my students. And it's just like, wow, that's exciting. And so it's ways for us to connect to these industries, as I would say, like in the back door way.
That's incredibly insightful. And I know that these are really exciting opportunities for you guys to kind of emerge into. I noticed Grayson had recently mentioned or added a post on LinkedIn with you guys had a 30% increase in your followers in 30 days running some of these partnership campaigns in social, and Grove has really grown tremendously through organic online building those relationships as well as partnerships like you're talking about. How do you show sort of the ROI of the partnerships, whether they be online marketing campaigns or, like you're saying, breaking into new distributors or trade shows?
Sure. I mean, we're still at the like right now for us, an increase in sales is good. So any increase is good, right? So we're not so stuck on like measuring the nitty gritty. We also have to just continue that forward momentum. That's kind of the front focus for us right now. And so we're just celebrating any sort of win. And so like we're not necessarily so focused on like um measuring this growth versus this growth. All growth is good growth at this point right now. And Grayson has done and continues to do like just such an amazing job of really utilizing LinkedIn. That's how we've been able to grow so much. And he's just like constantly, he's commenting, he's liking, and it allows us to get more inbound. And so we also find ways to celebrate in that way, like not necessarily impressions, but like, are we starting to see inbound? And so right now, I've only been there a short time, and I'm starting to get inbound requests, and that's super exciting. It shows that something's working. And so like we're huge proponents of just like, where's the momentum? Where's the flow? Like, let's continue the momentum and continue the flow at this point.
That's such an exciting place to be at, and it's so rare for, I think, a founder to use LinkedIn in that way. I think there was the stat from Edelman that said 83% of executives, 83% of people are more likely to trust a brand if their executives are active on LinkedIn. And to your point, it's not just being active on LinkedIn when you have a new cookie or you have a new product release. It's consistently being active, building those relationships, commenting, posting, showing themselves authentically so that people can start to really trust that brand. And to your point, that's going to lead to social following, so inbound requests. So I just can't echo that enough. I'm wondering, having worked with him for some time now, what do you think are the inherent qualities in him as a founder that you could almost like templatize to get to another founder to replicate some similar success?
That's a great question. I would say what Grayson's like really good at, what he's so good at is leading with passion and leading with joy. Those are our little batteries that keep us going. And so, you know, there's, you know, when you're going into the unknown, you don't want to just be doing things the hard way and doing things that don't feel like they're working. He's really good about focusing on joy, passion, and what's working and continuing to make those minor adjustments to continue focusing on that. And I just also like seen it in my own life that that's what brings me quicker results than like trying to swim uphill and do it the hard way. Like it's like a martyr. It's like you can have fun doing it too. Like why not?
Yeah. Well, that's totally the
Mhm.
space too, right? So I'm curious, what would also be something you would recommend to other brands? Like if they're looking to get into the Sendoso platform or any other direct mail vendor space, what could they be doing that's similar to this, like a micro moment, if you will, right? Like the March Madness was a moment in time that you could capitalize with another partner and just make some social virality out of it. Um, what are some ways that you would encourage smaller startups who are looking to really break into that space that you guys are operating in? How could they start to build those partnerships? What are some tips you would give them?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I just always come back to the joy. And it's like what lights you up? What like every day I wake up and I say, wouldn't it be fun if? Wouldn't it be fun if? And that's how the March Madness cookie cookbook was born. It was all out of an idea of wouldn't it be fun if, and that's kind of what it continues to be. And so if you lead with that, that's your momentum and that can take you to some really cool places. And wouldn't it be fun if typically aligns with your gifts. And those have yet to be like released to people potentially. So don't say, oh, it's to this, or I'm to this, or this couldn't set all those aside and just follow that little thread, that little cookie crumb, and just see where it takes you. And the right people will show up to support you in your dreams if you follow that cookie crumb of wouldn't it be fun if. And sometimes they're going to be different for everybody. Everybody has different gifts, everybody has different joys. And so when I talk to our different gifting platform partners, some of them all have just different cool ideas. And I love celebrating, encouraging to say, yeah, let's do that. Let's go that way. Let's go that way. So it's not like each platform should look the same. It shouldn't. It should just be like, what are your joys? What lights you up? Look at your client base. What do they need also? But like, what do you want to bring forth? Um, and that's, it sounds simple, but sometimes the simple gets the job done.
Your commentary on gifts, you've mentioned that a couple of times as far as people's unique and iterable like talents and just joy is so refreshing. By the way, I just wanted to comment on that. That's so beautiful. And I'm curious because you mentioned, finding joy in what you do every day is kind of what led you to being curious about joining Grove Cookie Company in general. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, your background is really more in direct like sales and sales coaching. So I'd be curious, what gifts do you feel like other people who want to be in partnerships, how did you pull some of those gifts into your partnerships role? And what gifts do you think are maybe different or that you've learned more recently in that role?
Gosh, well, it's kind of been I've been lucky to like dabble. I like dabbling and building kind of different skill sets, and I've been fortunate that I get to like do a lot of fun things. And so um for people who want to get into partnerships, it's cool because you can be a multi-passionate person, and most of us are. Like, how can you be all of yourself in one job? And so partnerships allows you to bring, if you love marketing, you get to work on like little marketing stuff with your partners. I just got to create an ad for our new distributor space that we're entering into, ASI. You get to bring, yeah, I have a sales background. I have a marketing background, teaching, food industry. So it's all those kind of coming together. So don't be afraid of all of your passions. You don't need to just be like, am I an AE or am I a, you know, marketing person? Like, if you are multi-passionate, partnerships is great for that. Like, you can really thrive in that space. And so partnerships is really, it's bringing the sales, the marketing, the organizational development, and, relationship building, I would say. And then I'm lucky I get to bring some memes in working at Cookie Company. So I've just been like, yeah, just super grateful.
I love that. I know Taylor and I can relate to that. I feel like we've always felt like both of us have felt like we've been pushed into like boxes, right? Are we a generalist? Are we a specialist? Or
Mhm.
what are we? And it's like, well, we have totally have multiple passions and we want to be able to explore all of them. And I love that you package partnerships that way because I think it's a really good market for, anybody that's been struggling in the job market, particularly like to land their next sales role. That could be something that they want to explore, right? Because I think the way you laid it out makes perfect sense. And it's becoming, I mean, at least in the marketing and sales space, partnerships are the number one channel for driving revenue. And it shows that not only are they like higher in overall close one value, but they actually are quicker to close too. So it's just such a rewarding job too, something that's going to give you some like instantaneous impacting results. So I think that that's a really great thing that you just brought up there.
Thank you. Yeah, just following your joy leads you to more joy is basically what I believe in. And so I look back at all of my jobs and I reflect, and I just like, I really relish in that joy. And if you relish in the gratitude, when I was at DeBella, I was doing home improvement sales. And I would hop in the group chat of our entire company and I would post memes of homeowners' pets that were on my like sample product. They would sit on top of it. And it just became like a joke, where I was posting memes to the group chat company wide. And I was like, oh my God, I would love to be able to make memes as part of my job. And it was like a joy element for me where it's like holding on to that gratitude of little elements you can pull from different jobs and being able to create something. And I just um I get to make memes now on LinkedIn. It's not technically part of my job, but it's like I think we tell ourselves we can get in our own way and say, well, this is what I have to do and this is what I have. Sometimes like even just let go of the job title and just say what's bringing me joy and just follow that flow.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of that. I mean, me and Taylor, I don't know if you know, but we used to work together at another company and then we both went different ways. And so like this is kind of a way where Taylor and I can still collaborate and get to work together as we started the podcast because I'll speak for me. It brought me joy to work with Taylor. So I wanted to keep working with her.
See? Look at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Just like that, your heart desire coming around in like a way you wouldn't even expect.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
cool.
No, 100%. Like Taylor said, this is so refreshing. This has been such a great positive chat. I feel like this is something that we can all listen to and get inspired to whenever we get into ruts and feel like, things may not be going the way we're going. I love the going back to your why, going back to the joy. But before we let you go, Kaylin, we have a magic wand at the top and we asked you what you would change. And for both personal and professional, you said that you just want to be around people more, especially people that are from your past or people that like you've met, in this space. And I had an idea that I wanted to throw at you. It's like a pretty like go dream big idea. Okay. So
Yes.
um so thinking of like cookies as a service, which I love that tagline that you guys use. Um and seeing people, so accomplishing this wish for you. I would love if the Grove Cookie Company went on tour and had a food truck that went to different stops. And I mean, shoot, bring Comsor along with the matcha tea. Like I see the whole thing, right? So maybe one side of the truck is the matcha, the other side of the truck is the cookies, and meet everybody, get people to socialize. You'll get some of those campaigns to come to life right then and there too. So big ask of everybody's time.
Wow.
But I would love to see like a food truck roadshow of Grove Cookie Company.
Oh my God. I freaking love that idea. And you always have these really fun marketing ideas. So yeah, why not? Let's put it out there and
Yeah.
never know one day. You never
Yeah.
know one day, So thank you. Yeah.
Plus
Yeah.
one on all of that idea from Corrina, particularly. I don't know how fast you guys can come up with a food truck, but I'll be in Forrester in Austin in May, so maybe we can make that happen.
That's true. You could even capitalize on some of these other events and just like rent. There's probably a way you could like rent a truck, I'm sure, right? For the day and brand it.
Yeah.
You could even have, oh my God, my mind's going crazy. I need to stop.
Ah,
But yes, Kalen, thank you so much. If our listeners want to reach out to you and collaborate with you or figure out how to bring cookies from Grove Cookie Company to them, how can they do that? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Sure. Of course, you can find me on LinkedIn. Kalen, Kalen, Olson, Olson. And you can also email me at Kalen, Kalen, at grovecookie.company.com.
Thank you so much, Kalen. See you soon.
Thank you so much. It was just so awesome to be with you both. I had a blast and appreciate you having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Direct with Corrina and Taylor.
If you enjoyed what you heard in today's episode, please give us a follow, maybe even a 5-star review, wherever you listen to your podcast.
And if you know someone that you'd like to spotlight, or if you want to share your own story, visit us at motionagency.io/direct. We'd love to hear from you.